dos, uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Dos. You see that black boy over there running scared? His old man at the bottom. He done quit his 9 to 5. He drink full time, and now he's living in the bottom. See that black boy over there running scared? His old man got a problem, and it's a bad one. He ain't done pawned off damn near everything. His old woman away to beg for bottom. And don't you think it's a crime when time after time after time people in the bottom, there's people living in the bottom. Listen to me, see that sister, sure was fine. She started drinking wine in the bottom. She told me, oh man, committed a crime, he's doing time, and now she's hanging in the bottom. I seen her out there on the avenue all by herself. She sure need help from the bottom. I seen her, the man tried to help her. She cussed him down and
That's what we do here at Red State Talk Radio. Welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler here at Red State Talk Radio. Boom, boom. Low Gil Scott Heron. Warm things up. See that black man over there. Scared. Hey, look. Got a lot of things to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on at the border. We're also going to talk about the January 6th domestic terrorist incident, not insurrection. Let's be clear, it was not an insurrection. Off the noise over there, we got that hearing. Oops, we got that hearing that's going on. The Merrick Garland testimony before the House. It's a joke. He hadn't heard about the woman being raped on the train. Really? I mean, anybody, anywhere with a modicum of decency has heard about it. He's lying. He's a lying SOB. That's what I hear about Democrats. These white boys get up there and lie. They lie. They lie when you work with them. All they do is lie, and try to act like they're the smartest person in the room when we know they're not. Man, I tell you, I don't have an affinity for Democrats. You can understand that. I do respect my conservative colleagues only because my conservative colleagues, you know where they're coming from. They don't try to, act like your friends and we're going to sing Kumbaya together. Kumbaya, my Lord. Anyway, look, we're going to have a gentleman on with us. We're going to be talking about the January 6th insurrections from New America. I'm going to give him a call shortly. But hey, this Merrick Garland testimony, if you're watching this, it is truly a joke when you can, if the top law enforcement officer in the country expects us to believe that somehow he did not, and he has not seen this video, the video of the woman being raped or heard about this woman being raped. It's unconscionable. Unconscionable. That's all I can say. It's unconscionable. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to not play maybe I'll play Merrick Garland while I do something else. So yeah, let me see if I can bring this testimony online. It's so ridiculous. I'm serious, man. It is so ridiculous that I'm almost embarrassed to play it for you. Maybe let's see if I do it with CNN. CNN tends to let you play their videos or their live feed without signing in to a whole bunch of other things. Amazon warehouse worker, these jobs pay above minimum wage, but there's a catch. Oops. Oh, there's a lot going on today. Let's see what we got. I don't see it. They're not talking about. I don't see it. Where is it? Come on. Merrick Garland, folks. Merrick Garland. Come on. Don't see it. It's amazing. It's amazing that let's see if Fox is carrying it live. You know, these are the important things. See, they want to distract. They want to distract from, you know, they want to distract from the border crisis. They want to distract from the out of control, what do you call it? Inflation. They want to distract from things that impact your pocketbook. And if you let them, then you're as stupid as they are. This is America. Speak up, speak out. There's no such thing as politically correctness. Don't ever mention that word to me in the terms of that's something that I need to comply with, because that's not going to happen. I don't believe in political correctness, and I think that anyone who does is stupid. Okay? So we're not even going to have a discussion about that. I'm trying to watch live this Merrick Garland piece.
The chairman of the Judiciary Committee's congressional district.
So GOP pushes for Hunter Biden special counsel. No, that's not that's not what's on TV right now.
You know, Congressman, there was also this most recent moment with Rep.
There's something totally different
asking
on TV
AG Garland about
than that's on Fox. It's amazing. It's amazing. Because I'm watching Fox and his Fox News and the Merrick Garland hearing is on.
1.7
but if you go to
arrests
the
this year.
Okay, here we go. Yeah,
this is a federal crime to cross
so
the border
let's play
outside of a
let's play
port
this
of entry,
real
is
quick.
it not?
I'm going to put this on and then I'll get some calls.
How many are you prosecuting?
I don't know the answer to that.
So it was yet another instance where he didn't know the answer, didn't have answers. But what did you make of that exchange?
I was on the border last week with my friend Andy Biggs, and it was unbelievable, the flow that we witnessed and the problems that this really is causing the Border Patrol. It's absolutely crushing their resources. This Attorney General, this president walked away from the policies that the Trump administration had in place to avoid this crisis. They have caused this crisis. I don't think the Attorney General took responsibility for what's happening, and I think he should have.
Congressman, when you take a look at the answers that the Attorney General was giving about this memo to the FBI to start looking into school board meetings across the country, based on a letter from the National School Boards Association, that some of the conduct that the School Boards Association has seen at some of these meetings where parents are voicing their concerns amounts in their estimation to domestic terrorism. What did you think of his answers? Were they comprehensive? Was he evasive? Was he just not there? What was your take on it?
Yeah, I think he was absent without leave, frankly. I think that the problem that the Attorney General faces is his department is being used by the White House as a political tool. And the result is the American people are pushing back and pushing back very hard. People understand what's going on when you take a really strong law enforcement agency like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and you start looking at individual parents. It's not as if local law enforcement couldn't handle the situation. Every single incident that the National School Board Association cited was handled appropriately. There were arrests made, there were prosecutions, if appropriate. And the result is not to call in the Federal Bureau of Investigation to investigate like this. The result is to recognize federalism and say to the states and local communities, you deal with this. If there is some sort of—
Oh boy, here we go. You know, these senators are up here two-stepping and trying to be nice. Get serious, get some balls. You know, speak out. You know, Merrick Garland is sitting there lying to you. You won't call this man a liar. The only person who has two people who have the balls to call these people out are, what's his name? Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. They're the only ones who have the balls to call these people out for what they are, liars. Merrick Garland is sitting there lying to the House committee. He's lying. Oh man, it's just amazing to me. Amazing to me. So, and on the House side, the only person that's calling these folks out for real is what's his name? Jim Jordan, who's been on my show a number of times. Hey, look, what we're going to do here, though, we have Dave Summerall standing by, so we're going to cut to a short break, and when we come back, we'll have Dave Summerall. We'll be talking about the video of the domestic disturbance. It wasn't an insurrection. It was a domestic terrorist incident.
This is Dan Perkins, co-host of Black and White, and this message is for the 200 million of you who have taken the COVID-19 shots. If you haven't taken the shot, don't waste your time. I'll get to you later. We need boosters because the effectiveness of your original shot is deteriorating. The CDC tells us that you can get the Delta virus even with the original shot, and perhaps even with the third. You have to decide to get the third shot. It's your call. Think about this right now. While you're listening to this message, about 6% of Americans that have the vaccine are getting sick. You could be next. The CDC believes a low immune system may be the cause. So even if you get the third shot, you need to protect yourself and strengthen your immune system immediately. I have a great all-natural way to do this. Go to blacksandwhites.us website and click on the CV Acute bottle to have it on hand. If you wake up with flu symptoms, take CV Acute 3 times a day for 3 days and you're done. Don't wait until you get sick to buy this great tested product. It could be too late. Buy it now. Have it on standby. Go to blacksandwhites.us and buy it now. Arm yourself to fight off this virus. Do it now.
Okay, we're back, and I want to bring Dave Summerall with us. You know, his organization did the video of the domestic terrorist incident, according to the FBI. It was not an insurrection. Everybody keeps referring to it as an insurrection on the Democrat side. Do they understand what an insurrection is? Do they really understand what could have happened on January 6th if the 600,000 people decided to take over the Capitol? They would have taken it over. But that wasn't the case. The case is really, those were Democrat operatives, Democrat sympathizers, Democrat and left-wing radicals who were climbing the walls of the Capitol. You never seen Trump people do that. You never seen Trump people at a rally of 30,000, 20,000 people leave one piece of paper behind. Not one piece of paper. And these people have the audacity. That's why when I see these senators and I see these congressmen lying, it brings out an anger in me that I have not felt in a very long time. And that anger is not to be very nice to them, but to punch them in the nose. Hey, so let me welcome Dan Summerall with us. Hey, Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, man, we're going to work on you. I know it makes you want to punch somebody.
Makes you want to punch somebody, baby.
Listen, I'm driving down the road. I just passed a trailer with "Let's Go Brandon" on it. So I understand the frustration, man. I really, really
Let's
do.
go, Brandon. F Joe Biden. F Joe. You know what pissed me off? You know what pissed me off about all of that is that one, the little the guy who was doing the racing, he was such a punk. You know what I hate about American men today? They're just wusses. They're effing wusses. And I am tired of the majority of American men being wusses. Stand up, act like men. Treat these women like they're supposed. Women want to be treated like equals. Treat them like equals. Don't treat them like ladies, because they will smack you behind it. See, black women get that. A black woman will whoop your ass if you don't fight her back. You're gonna have a whipped ass. Let me be clear. So
that is right. And some people deserve it. I'm telling you.
And so you look at the football player, the little football player in the elevator. He knew if his girlfriend got in the first punch on him that he was gone. They would have been showing a NFL football player gets beat by a woman. She was the one who lunged at him. She lunged at him and he punched her. It was just a reflex. I did that to a woman. Now, do I feel bad? That happened to me. That had to have happened to me 1983. And I still feel bad about punching this woman in the eye, but it was a reflex. I didn't intend to do it. I hadn't planned to do it, but she lunged at me to hit me, and I punched him, and boom, you know.
Yeah.
And and I still feel bad about that today, but I bet you she won't jump at nobody else like that. But you know,
Hey, you play the game, get the trophy.
Hey, brother, she had a little. She thought that she could actually take. You know, she was a little tomboy. She was cute as hell. She still is cute as hell. She's 65 years old. Just you look at her, you go, oh, she's just a dream. But she's a real hellion, and she would have probably beat my butt if I hadn't chopped her a little bit, punched her a little bit, keep her off me. Because you know, and see, this is the thing about the football player. I think if he hadn't dragged her like he did. No, if he hadn't dragged her like he did, it wouldn't have been so bad. But he grabbed the chick by her feet and pulled her out.
It's just wrong.
Hey, look, if he grabbed her by her torso and pulled her out, it may have gone over a little better. But anyway, hey, look, yeah, let's move on here.
We're learning it's all about optics, isn't it?
It's all about optics, man. Listen, am I right though? Hey, listen, Dave, am I right? You've never seen Trump people act out. You don't see Trump people wearing their hats, but I've never seen going to a Trump rally and saw a Trump person with a mega hat on backwards, except at January 6th. January 6th is the reason we see, because these are not Trump people.
That's right. Operatives, actors, agents.
Just like with with the FBI, when the FBI planted operatives in the Black Panther movement, they find out who the people who started shooting were FBI operatives, FBI informants. Those were the people who started shooting at the cops, not the Black Panthers.
Even more recently than that, Michigan with the governor. So we see there's a pattern here with the FBI. You know, instigation more than investigation. That's the truth. We see Christopher Wray, director of the FBI, get up there and lie in front of everybody during a congressional hearing. Oh, there was no Antifa involvement. Didn't mention that he had over 30 agents there working. They're individual agents in the crowd. I mean, and then look, there's three things that they said the other day, that they were talking to their operative before, during, and after. And that during, he said there wasn't a plan to get in, and after, he said there wasn't a plan to get in. But the key word was before. So they did know about it. They didn't do anything about it. These are little bitty breadcrumbs that we have to follow to the truth. But people have to take the time to turn that TV off and get the real story. Did you see the HBO special yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's a real tragedy, man. They just make it look like these police were completely justified. So you have to look at both sides.
Well, you know what I look at? I look at that lady who came through the window. That's just one. Yeah. She came through the window. She didn't have an object in her hand to hurt anybody. And this guy shot her. No. How could you shoot an unarmed person? Dude, when I was coming along, a police officer took his billy club and he beat you. A police officer in the old days, they never pulled out their weapons. You know, they manned up and they fought. I mean, you know, even in the 80s, you know, the 90s, these guys pull out a billy club. Now you got these young hot shots with guns on their hips and protected by qualified immunity. They get out of their cars with their hands on their gun. I've had guns pulled on me 12 times, dude. And this is hey, listen, this wasn't in the commission of a crime. This was in the commission of driving while black. Now, white people have no idea of the fear that's generated when those lights go on, because you don't know who you get. You don't know if you're getting a racist ass cop. You don't know if you're getting a moron. And this is the thing about cops today. They're stupider than ever. I mean, you go to court and you take the time out of your day, you got the anxiety of going to court, and they throw it out because these cops didn't follow the law in the first place. How come cops aren't penalized for not following the law? They have the ability to pull you over, detain you, arrest you, and shoot you without due process. Okay?
That's right.
They're the only people in this society that have the ability to kill a person without due process. And then you have these stupid people who listen to Hannity talking about, well, the police need qualified. Who is Hannity? What college did Hannity go to? Absolutely none. Okay. I mean, is he an attorney? The answer is hell no. All he does is repeat the same thing for an hour. Or this radio show. Repeat, regurgitate the same one, because he's not an intelligent guy. He's not a critical thinker.
Problem, not solution.
Well, the solution.
They keep waiting for it, and he says tomorrow we'll talk about and wait for it, and it never comes.
Well, the solution, you know,
need answers.
it's like the solution. The solution to crime in Chicago is to arm the citizenry. I say that every block should have a neighborhood watch with guns. Do you think that these boys would come through the neighborhood shooting if you had neighborhood watches with shotguns instead of T-shirts and whistles?
That's what I'm saying. I'm from Texas, so I can't imagine what it's like to live somewhere without a gun.
Man, listen, in Chicago, when I first got to Chicago, dude, I got to Chicago in 1997. So I go downtown. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I go downtown I go to the police station. It's on 35th Street, to register my handguns, like you have to do in California to register my guns. So I walk in and the lady said, well, what kind of guns you want to register, sir? I said, well, I have a 9mm, a 38, I have a 380. She said, well, sir, I just want to tell you, it's illegal to own a handgun. This is at the police station, black lady. It's illegal to own a handgun in the city of Chicago. Really? Yeah, even in your home? Yeah. I'm like, really? I mean, I was shocked, right? I mean, I came from California and it was fairly restricted, but not that restricted. No, I was getting married. No, I was getting married. So, anyway, so long story short, I tipped back to the car, and I'm so glad I had the guns in the car. I tipped back to the car. They were in the trunk. I tipped back to the car, and I was just so glad. I was thinking to myself, I was trying to figure out, well, how do you carry these guns, or how do you register these guns with the police department? You don't want to walk into a police department with a 20 gauge shotgun, slung over your shoulder.
Hey guys, what do I do with this?
Hey guys, yeah. How do I get this thing registered? Gun, boom, 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 gun, boom, 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 boom.
That's right.
So at least I was that savvy. So anyway, the lady, I said, well, miss, what should I do with my guns? She looked at me, she leaned forward. She said, baby, if I was you, I'd keep them.
You're going to need them.
But listen, the people in Chicago are very clear. The politicians, you've always had a mayor in Chicago who was a dictator. Mayor Daley was a dictator. Every mayor after him tried to be what? A dictator.
That's right.
And what these people don't understand is that they're elected to. It's just like the mayor they have today, Larry Lightfoot. Larry Lightfoot says that she is demanding that every city employee get a vaccination, and the cop says, "Screw you." So the dude, he went to. I don't know what to call her. She's an it. So it decided to go to. It decided to go to
get me in trouble.
Hey, you're not part of this, bro. This is me, okay? This Charles Butler. This is what I do. This is the reality check. I mean, she says she married. It ain't me. She says she married to a wife. A husband and wife go together. I'm sorry. I'm not participating in the mental illness of this country. You are not going to convince me to buy into the mental illness going on in this country. And every damn psychiatrists, psychologists should be screaming to the rafters about this nonsense on this LGBT crap. It's absolutely insane. I am not buying into the
everything else, all the division,
dude. So
this is all choreographed.
So she decided she's going to reach out to the suburbs, to the police, and she thinks that somehow the police in the burbs are going to rebel against the Chicago Police Department and the boys in blue. I don't know what this chick is thinking, and because all of the burbs told her, "F you, Lightfoot."
Yeah.
Like she said to President Trump when Trump said, "I want to help you clean up Chicago. I want to help you deal with the gun violence." And she got on TV and she said this, and I quote, I'm putting air quotation marks, "F you, Donald Trump." She didn't say F you, President Trump. She said F you, and so we're saying to Larry Lightfoot, F you, Larry Lightfoot, F you.
Exactly.
And that's what the police departments are saying. F you, Larry Lightfoot, F you.
Well, I tell you what, it's about time we stand up.
Well, you have to. You have to. And I'm just so sick of American men being wusses that I have to check with my wife. The hell with your wife. You're the man of the house. You know,
I mean, quit eating all that soy product and start eating some steak.
Well, you know, when you let me tell you something, man. That soy, I used to be a big soy guy because I like the taste of it. It was supposed to be healthy for you, but guess what? It develops breasts. No, it develops breasts in men. Well, I didn't notice because you know I'm a weightlifter. I was pumping iron, you know, and I'm still getting these fluffy breasts. I'm like, what the hell? Where's my pecs going? You know, maybe I'm getting older. Man, let me tell you something. When that came out, when I understood that I cut that stuff loose so quick, and now I do almond milk.
Hey, you tell everybody that, all these women gonna start eating up all the soy. You know what I'm saying?
Hello, this
That's
is Dan
okay.
Perkins. In my
I ain't got no problem with that. You know, so you know, I know a few women who could use a little soy. You know?
Oh no, I knew I'd put you up for that.
They could use a little soy. You know, should be. Yeah, I mean, well, I like the taste of soy. You know, so. Hey, quick story, Dave. While you're laughing, don't run into something while you're laughing out there. Okay.
Oh,
So look,
no.
So look. One day, I used to live on Michigan Avenue, right by the Art Institute, so right down the middle of downtown, right. So, so I was walking down the street, and I'm standing in front of the Art Institute, and it's in the summer, and so I'm getting ready to cross the street on the side of the Art Institute, and this lady, this young white lady, walks up, and she's standing next to me, and she has on a top that has about 2 inches of fabric going across both of the nipples of her breasts. And that's all she has on top, right? So I'm looking at this chick, right? I look at her, I just turn around and I look at her breasts, right? And she said to me, and you know, we had a lot of tourists around at the time, because you know, that was before pandemic. So there's a lot of tourists. She said, "What are you looking at?" I said, "Breastises."
What did she think you were looking at?
She said, "Well, you need to quit looking at me." I said, "And you need to put some damn clothes on. I ain't no faggot, okay? I'm an all-American. I'm an all-American boy. I'm all-American steak-eating bona fide." And I licked my lips. I licked my lips when I looked at her breasts.
So well, you understand, you can't run around half naked and not expect to get some reaction. You know, you can't do that. I mean, where's the morality? You've talked about it before I came on the show. It's the sin. It's the lies. And that's the lack. That's what's doing it's the destruction of the family unit. No moral fiber. It's the lack of, what do we call it? Founding father material. We don't have those people represented.
Well, John Adams.
Cowards and Perkins. That's terrible.
John Adams was very clear about being an American and living in America. He said the Constitution was written only for a moral and religious people. Without that, there's no governance of man's unbridled passions. So, when you say,
what's the good of having freedom if you don't?
So when you have freedom, if you don't have morality, if you don't have religion, you know, that means you can do anything debaucherous. You know, that's why you have pedophiles coming out saying, "Well, what's wrong with me loving a young boy? You're never a young girl. What's wrong with me loving a young boy?" Well, what's wrong with you loving a young boy is, "I'm gonna chop your penis off." Then you can try to figure out what was wrong with that.
Yeah, you can figure out what's wrong with what I'm about to do to you.
Exactly.
You can figure that out.
You can figure that. Can you figure that out? Can you figure that one out?
Something about a millstone and your neck and some deep water. I don't know, something.
Well, you know, the thing is, you know, I want to talk to you about that because two things. When we talk about the domestic terror incident that the FBI calls January 6th versus this insurrection, they don't know what an insurrection is, do they? An insurrection is an armed attempt to overthrow a government. This was not an insurrection. And these people see, but with the ignorance of the American people, they don't get it. They haven't even had a sense to go look up what insurrection means. I'm listening to these sitting senators, sitting congressmen constantly repeat the same lie. The insurrection of July 6th. We have to impeach, or we have to subpoena Steve Bannon because he incited the insurrection, the overthrow of the government. The government wasn't threatened to be overthrown.
No, none of that.
Go ahead.
Here's how they changed the narrative, man. And this is right in front of everybody's eyes. So we know that at first, it was an armed insurrection. Then they took the armed out. Then they had the trial. And they said, okay, no weapons were actually confiscated from the people that went into the Capitol. There were 0 weapons. They had to admit it. But now, listen to the HBO verbiage. The mob was the weapon. See, now they're trying to so just
it was the people. It was
the
people. Now listen.
They were the weapon now.
Now, question for you. I've heard that there were 600,000 to 800,000 people on the Hill that day. What have you heard? What number have you heard?
I've heard from 1 to 3 million, and I guarantee
what
in my book. Oh, listen. On the property there and across the reflective pond and all the way down the street, watch my documentary and look for the still shot when we take it of the ground. So we had one of our guys went on top and took a sweeping picture, and down both streets, they're totally full. And then the whole yard is like full. They were trying to say 15,000 people. They've tried to say 40,000 people. You can take that picture and see 40,000 here and here and here. And I'm telling you, there were some miraculous numbers that the media is trying to hide from people. It was the biggest, most patriotic event ever.
And this is what pisses me off. This is what really pisses me off. Democrats have protested the sanctioning of the electorate and the electors, the votes of the electors for every presidential election, and nobody said a damn word. And they act like this. Wait a minute. And they act like this is some unpatriotic act, that this is some act that is unlawful. And, and see, the American people, being the stupid people that they are, the people who sit and watch CNN, and that's the thing. If you watch or if you get your news from CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, you get all this misinformation, because Fox is no better than the other outlets. They don't make the distinction between insurrection and what the FBI said was a domestic terrorist act. Okay, am I telling the truth here, Dave?
No, you're telling the absolute truth, and that's the dividing line. That's how we know who's on our team or not. If anyone calls it an insurrection, they are not on our team, because they don't understand. If they don't understand, they're not listening to their constituents. Therefore, they need to be gone anyway.
You had AOC. You got AOC. Yeah. She was caught in a lie. Oh, I was scared for my life. They were looking for me. She was lying.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't even in the same building.
In the building. Exactly, man. It's hilarious.
And then she's still lying. She's still. I'm having nightmares, and I'm thinking, baby, you can invite me over. I'll babysit you at night. Shit.
You know what's disgusting, man? You know what's disgusting though?
Because she is a cutie.
Yeah, but I tell you what's disgusting about the whole thing, man.
What?
They touted that the people in the Capitol that day that weren't us. Everyone that worked there, everybody that was there needs counseling, needs 24-hour therapists. They're having to deal with issues. They're so scared and traumatized. And they've been holding these people for 10 months as political prisoners. You talk about needing counselors and therapy. They're driving these people crazy in solitary confinement. I mean, they're trying to push these pleas. They're cutting their rations back. They're not letting them shave if they don't take the jab. They've got hair down to their shoulders and beards down to their stomachs. It's disgusting the way they're treating these. It's beyond human rights.
So is this communist China? Is this North Korea? I mean, is this Cambodia? Is this Vietnam? Is this Is this
This is our
Peru?
Alamo.
Wait a minute.
This is our Alamo. This is because we got
Is this
people-
Saudi Arabia? I mean,
I'm
oh,
telling
wait. Is this Islamabad or Kabul?
Right.
I mean, where are we?
America.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, these Americans, or these so-called Americans, these Democrats and these liberals are so against the law. I mean, how can you allow people to run across our border and break the law and claim, well, it's not really a law? I'm going to tell you right now, I think that Jefferson was right. And that is, at some point, there has to be a revolution. We are at that point where there has to be a revolution because Democrats have no respect for the Democrat process because they can't win. They can't. Who would go out? Can you tell me that Joe Biden won Pennsylvania when he said he was going to put 62,000 people out of a job on day one when he was in office, and he won a state that depended on those 62,000 jobs? You gonna tell me that he won that state? Ain't no way.
No way.
But the governor of the state, a Democrat, and the secretary of state of that general said, there's no way that Donald Trump, they said very arrogantly, there's no way that Donald Trump will win PA. No. And you can see statistically, you have all these statistical aberrations, and nobody ever wants to deal with that. Now, if it was the other way around, they'd be touting, well, scientifically, this could never happen because, you know, it's just mathematically, it's just improbable. It's not impossible,
Russian
but it's not improbable.
The Russians,
You know,
yeah, the Russians did it.
The Russians did it, yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got too many rhinos in office. And these people, well, Jim Jordan's not. He's a hammer. And
yeah, there's probably 6 or 7 people.
yeah,
that
you
are
know,
actually left
Goldmerth's
on our
not.
side.
Goldmerth's the hammer.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Louis
Gosar,
Goldmerth, and
Gates,
you know,
well, Gates is just such, you know.
well, they tried to get
Gates.
Gates. They tried to get Gates, saying that he paid for sex with a minor.
Right.
And so they got this guy down here, his buddy, who was trying to stay out of jail, and he's agreeing to everything. Just whatever you want. I'll say it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Oh, you gonna take 5 years off? Okay, I'll say it. Knowing that it's not true. But that's not important. That's not important. The important thing is that they try to get this guy. Hey, look, we got to go to commercial. We'll be right back with Dan Summerall. I'm gonna ask him if he's any relation to Pat. We'll be right back in a minute, soon as we pay a couple of bills here.
Hello, this is Dan Perkins. In my last message, I talked to only those Americans who had the full vaccination, but excluded those who have never had, for whatever reason you have chosen, to take the shot. I'm speaking to you today. The rest of America can go get a cup of coffee. Your greatest defense against the COVID-19 and Delta viruses is a healthy immune system. We know that at least 40% of Americans have a weakened immune system. You may be one of those 40%. When the virus comes knocking This is Dan Perkins, and I have an important announcement from the heads of the CDC and the FDA. They've told the Biden administration it doesn't have enough clinical data to approve the COVID-19 booster shots for all Americans. They gave no indication when they might recommend it for approval. They are also telling us that the effect of the vaccine is wearing off. We now know people who have been vaccinated and are getting Delta. How do you make sure your immune system can protect you? Go to blacksandwhites.us and click on the CV Acute bottle and get a powerful all-natural supplement to protect yourself. You don't have time to waste. Buy it now and put it on the shelf. If you wake up feeling like you've got the flu, then take CV Acute 3 times a day for 3 days and you're done. Act now. Your health is at stake. Go to Blacks and Whites US and buy CV Acute today.
Hey, we're back, and we're here with Mr. David Summerall. Hey, Dave, you any relation to Pat Summerall, one of my favorite sportcasters?
You know, they say we are somewhere down the line. The spelling's a little different now, and you know how names change their spelling over time. So we're supposed to be from the same clan back in the day. Kind of crazy.
Okay. Okay, I can go along with that. But Pat Summerall was one of my favorite announcers, and I guess because he played ball, he was such a great announcer. You could always tell the guys who played ball who were announcers versus the people who didn't, like Jim Costas or Bob Costas.
That's right.
I can't stand when Costas come on. I turn the thing off. Boop. Marv Albert is probably the only guy that didn't play ball or wasn't involved as a coach that I listened to. The rest of those guys, Costas and some of these other talking heads, I'm like, boop, let me mute it. Boop, I can't stand it. Yeah. Hey, but look, tell us a little bit about the documentary and how we can see it, okay?
Well, okay, man. The story goes like this. I didn't want to go to D.C. on January 6th. It
was
not put on, I didn't have it in my heart. And about 3 days before, I just got that message that, that feeling that need to go, and everybody was saying, David, you really need to go. And I've dealt with Antifa for a couple of years with the rallies we used to do around the country, so I kind of knew what their tactics were. And I said, let's take the film crew and let's just spread out and get what we can. And we did, man. We went down there and we got a lot of early footage, that really shows how the whole scene unfolded. And we dropped our documentary June 4th, which is the anniversary of Tiananmen Square.
I was very pleased with the administration's announcement.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It's the same day as Tiananmen Square, where the government there mowed down the citizens and put them all in prison for having a pro-democracy event. Same thing happened in D.C.
Hey, man, how did that work out for them? How did that work out for the Chinese, huh?
Exactly.
And, we try to talk about these people when we do the same thing here. We're doing the same thing. And, you have a government that is, we are a government by and for the people. And these Democrats seem to think, as Joe Biden said, you elect us to rule you, to tell you what to do. That's what he actually said. I'm going.
Well, it's the same as Acosta versus Summerall on that deal. These politicians haven't run businesses or had jobs or worked outside in the public sector in their lives, most of them. And they have no real experience, real world experience, business experience, and they expect us to allow them to have
that's why,
control
listen,
over our budget.
To the point. That's why Trump was so good for the country. See, I remember that my daughter was in college at NYU, very liberal institution, liberal brainwashing whole bit. And so I never really could talk to her once she got to college because she was really impressed with her professors. And these guys hadn't done anything. Like, she went to Prague. And I said, her mother went to visit her, and her mother said, well, she wanted me to come to Prague. I said, well, I'm still on the list. I can't go to Prague right now. And she said, well, what are you talking about? I said, well, when I was in service, we did some things, and, I checked with state, and state advised me not to go at this time. State Department advised me not to go. So I get that, right? They don't even understand the significance that, your passport is really, that U.S. passport really has a lot of power overseas. But more importantly, if you don't have a U.S. passport, you are SOL in the rest of the world. People just don't care about you. But if you showed I'm an American, people have a newfound respect. They don't care what your ethnicity is overseas because you are an American to them. So look, and I bring that up to say that, we have to focus on taking back this country. I brought on my daughter to say when Romney was running for president, she said to me, the country would probably be better off if we had a businessman running the country. She knows Barack Obama. Barack Obama was at her baptism. She babysit his kids. So she wasn't, for her to say something like this was a very astute observation, but it was very accurate. Okay. And she said, we would probably be better off if we had a businessman running the country. Barack Obama was a smile and a grin, but this is a guy who instituted LGBT rights and how we need to, we're going to have LGBTs in everything, and transgenders, or we're going to put them in. People have said time and time again, transgender people have mental health issues. LGBT people. Well, you got to have some issues of some type if you're same sex anything, as far as I'm concerned. And I tell you, a person that I think is a total waste, and that's Liz Cheney's sister, Dick Cheney's young daughter. She's a lesbian. She's married to a chick. But man, she is probably the best looking of all of them. She is gorgeous. I've seen her in person. She is really a pretty woman. Very,
isn't that great?
Yeah, but Liz, and now Liz, you know, she's an anti-Trumper, and they're all anti-Trumpers because Trump stepped on the gravy train. Trump said, "Oh, we don't need this, and we don't need that, and you know, why can't we, you know, close this deal down?" Trump stepped out of the Paris Accord without a second thought. Why? Because, you know, Barack Obama was lying. Oh, the China signed on to the Paris Accord, and President Xi was like, "Yeah, we signed on to the Paris Accord, but we're not going to participate until 2030." That's what President Xi said. And President Obama, well, yes, we have China on board with us, and John Kerry, we have China on board with us. Yeah. Like 20 years from now. While they're bringing a coal plant online every week, man, they bring a new coal plant online. That's over 52 coal plants a year, but that's not counting the coal plants that they're building offshore for manufacturing. So I love the fact that these people are getting kicked in their behind. These people have sold us out, man. When I first got in the Navy, you save up your money to go to Japan to do what? To buy cheap camera equipment. Nikon was like, Nikon in Japan was like, you could buy a $1,000 camera for like $300. Okay. Quality camera. Then they flipped the script on us. Who flipped the script? Wall Street. They sold us out. They sold out the American people. You could go to London and the dollar was, it was like £5 to $1. Now you go to London, it's $5 to £1. No, actually it's 2 to 1, but I'm just exaggerating, but that's the truth. So a $300 room is now $600. So it's, you know, that's how they flip the script on Americans, and we never complained. You know, a loaf of bread when I was a boy, and that's in the 60s, my mama would send me to the store with $1. I could buy a loaf of bread for 28 cents. I could buy half a gallon of milk for 64 cents and have change. A gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, 64 cents. Now, granted, my dad was working in the plant. He's probably making $5 an hour. I know he used to bring home $200 a week. So we knew we had $800 in the kitty every month. Okay. The house note was only $98. 3-bedroom house, full basement, $98. Okay. I mean, we allowed these people to gouge us, to put women in the workforce. So now we're competing for fewer jobs. And now we have women who constitute 52% of the population. Now we're competing against them.
We let them change our morality. It's the family unit. It's the father being the
you know,
head of the household. Like,
let me ask you this, David. You're a pretty savvy guy. You're a real guy. Have you ever read Moynihan's paper on the crisis of the Negro family?
No, I have not.
See, the question is, you're talking about family, and you're very astute. You care about family just as I do.
Absolutely.
But you have never read that document. Now, I want you before we go, but before we talk again this weekend, download that document. It's only 25 pages. Download that document. And when you talk about family, then you will see how the government plan to attack the Black family has now morphed into attacking the white family and white males. So I always say this, I'm a Black guy. I don't know if you know that now, but I'm Black. So I have said, I continue to say, and this is what I believe in my heart of hearts, the most discriminated man, the most discriminated segment, or the most discriminated group in America today, and for the last 20 years, 30 years, has been the white male. Because the white male is the only person that's not considered a minority in America. Everybody else is considered a minority. White women, Asians, anybody who's not a white male An American white male is considered a minority.
Part of the plan.
Part of the plan, baby, to destroy America. Wait. Who built this damn country? Let's get real. Who built this damn country? Black men and white men. We built this country on the blacks and white men built this damn country. And we built it from the start. Yes, we were slaves, but not all black people were slaves. And black people bought their freedom. And let's be clear, when I talk about Thomas Jefferson didn't talk about the Declaration of Independence that was the final draft. He talked about his initial draft of the Declaration of Independence. That's what he preached about all his life. And so I'm reading these things on Thomas Jefferson, and he's talking about his original draft, and I'm going, shit, where is the original draft? I've never read it. So I did. I went and read it. And you know what he has in there? A whole paragraph on how the King of England promotes slavery, enslaves people, and it needs to end. That's in the original draft of the Declaration of Independence, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. So when I see my black friends who run around, this country wasn't written for black people. Black people were 3/5 of the people. Do your homework, dude.
Yeah, you helped build this thing.
We built this thing from the get-go, okay?
So own it.
You know, as I say to people all the time, and think about this for a minute, no country, not one African country has offered black people a passport. You know, we talk about we African Americans. Well, who in Africa wants you? What nation in Africa say you can come here and be a citizen? Not one.
Please come help. Yeah.
Not one. Yeah. Okay. And that's for a reason, because the Africans consider us, they don't consider us real Africans. They consider us black people, but we're not Africans, because Africans are pure. And that's their definition. Like Barack Obama is not considered an African because his mom was white.
Yeah. Even though he's born in Kenya. Oh, duh.
No, he wasn't born in Kenya.
No, I'm just kidding.
But you know, Donald Trump went down that rabbit hole, and that was really stupid. That was really stupid on his part. But anyway, look.
He tried to play the same game the media plays.
Well, he can't do it. You know, I mean,
we don't lie.
I mean,
we don't lie well. They don't tell the truth well. That's the difference.
Well, you know, that's very true. It's very true. But this guy gave away the election and not talking about his record and trying to talk about Joe Biden. He gave away the election. He should have talked about his record. He should have said this: when I came into office, 400,000 people were heading to the border to cross into this country illegally, and I stopped them cold. While Barack Obama said there's no way that we can stop them. They're going to come in. But he didn't do that, did he? He didn't say, I stopped China from stealing our secrets. I stopped China from becoming the #1 superpower in the world. I stopped China from ripping us off in undermining our markets with cheap labor and cheap products. He didn't say any of that, did he? I stopped North Korea from shooting missiles over Tokyo and Honolulu. He never said that, did he?
No.
So you have to understand, why was he paying these damn consultants millions of dollars for what? To talk about Joe Biden?
That's right. And listen, if there's not a Kardashian there to save the American people, like you said, I mean, they're too dumb to care. They're in for entertainment. They want to be entertained.
Kanye West in the White House. You know, everybody. I had a buddy, because this guy called me a plantation Negro, and we had been friends for almost 40 years, and I cut him loose. Now you have to understand, he's best friends with Jim Brown. When he goes to California, he stays at Jim Brown's house. So he said to me, we're talking, and you know, Jim Brown supported Trump, right? And who was sitting in the Oval Office with Jim Brown? I mean, with Kanye West? Jim Brown, the football player.
Yeah.
So this guy calls me, though, because I like Trump. My friend calls me a plantation Negro, but he called Jim Brown a plantation Negro. So I just cut him loose. I said, you know, he's just too dumb for me to even deal with. Hey, look, folks, you guys out there on Red State, we'll be back. I wish you can tune in over on YouTube, catch us, but we are getting ready to sign off here at Red State. Okay. All right. So we're back. Okay, here we go. I love this man.
That's great.
But no, man, that's what happens. You know, these people, they pick and they try to choose who's doing what, who's right and who's wrong. And nobody ever mentions that, well, Jim Brown was sitting there with in the Oval Office with Kanye West and President Trump.
Yeah, set it up.
Call Jim Brown a punk. Call Jim Brown a handkerchief head. Call Jim Brown an Uncle Tom, and you'll get a knuckle sandwich. Okay.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You got to be careful.
And he's 85. So what makes it any difference when you think you can call me these names? Because what? Because I'm supposed to be, you know, I saw Condoleezza Rice on The View. Went back and saw that interview. And this is the thing that gets me about critical race theory. This is another word or term or concept that's been co-opted by the left and the right that has nothing to do with critical race theory. You can't, critical race theory, the reality, the actual critical race theory, the discourse, the dissertation that was written by law professor Derek Bell is a graduate level thesaurus. I mean, I read it, and I can tell you that it's a graduate level piece on the disparity by race in the criminal justice system. And it's a great piece because, you know, there is, you know, I mean, it's been well documented over the years that we have this disparity. Oh, yeah. So, but when you start talking about white children should hate themselves because their great uncle owned slaves, or we had Jim Crow, so therefore your mom and your daddy were part of racist oppressors because they didn't do anything about Jim. No, that's not right, and it's wrong. Yeah. And this is the thing about that. Black people never feel that way. Never felt that way about white people, about Jim Crow. All we expected, and all Black people continue to expect, is to be able to pursue the American dream, whatever they perceive that to be, because not everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody wants a house with two cars in the garage and 3.5 children. Not everybody wants that. So why should Black people want that? There are Black people who like living in the city. There are like Black people who like living in the country. There are Black people who like living in the suburbs. But if you leave it to the Black leaders, we're all urban dwellers who want to live together in harmony, and in the drugs and the rats and the sirens blasting. That's what we want, because and we want welfare, and that's not true. Well, but think about it. Under Trump, you had the highest Black employment participation in history. You had the lowest Black employment in history. Black people, I'm telling you right now, David, believe me, Black people went out and voted for Trump. I know a family of 40 people who held a Zoom meeting during the election. 40 people, family, get together. They go by the Zoom thing where you can get like 100 people in, 40 family members. Yeah. Every last one of them said they were voting for Trump. I didn't ask for that. People call in and tell me this stuff. Hey, you know, we voted for Trump. We would never vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Like you said about Pennsylvania, it's the same thing. We know better. But the media, it's like they say, it's not who won the election, it's who the media says won. And that's what we're living with. They waited until after the impeachment trial. They were still saying, well, at least people are starting to say that Joe Biden is the official president. They weren't. They're still trying to get people to admit it. To this day, if you don't say it's a legitimate administration, then it's really not. That's what people don't know. We have that kind of power. We really do. And he's not. And people know that. We've just got to act like it and quit letting them push us around.
Well, I mean, you look at that budget. You know, what tickled me about the budget was when they said, well, we're going to look at any transaction in your bank account over $600. And you know what I say about that? If you go out and buy a television, you go to Best Buy, $5.99, right? Okay, so here in Illinois, here in Florida, it's 8% tax, right? So you throw another, let's see, if it's 8% tax, $8 times, okay. So you got another $50 in tax, right? Ding, 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 ding. You're over $600.
Yeah.
So the IRS The IRS gets to look at your bank account. And not only will they look at your bank account, they look at all your other transactions. They look at your tax returns. They look at this. They look at that. They don't have no business. This is called dictatorship. This is called communism, not socialism. I mean, these people are oppressive. This is not a political system that these people are trying to oppress and repress the American people, and they continually tell the lie. Oh, this the $35 trillion budget is going to be. It's not going to cost people anything. But what the American people say? It's costing me at the gas pump, you moron. It's costing me in the grocery store. I'm reading articles today. I read about 4 articles today. People talking about groceries, dude. When you start getting the women talking about groceries and the price of groceries, and the guys talking about the price of gas, you may as well do a thumbs down. We gonna put this fork in your neck, okay? Joe Biden is toast, man, but he doesn't care. He and Hunter are trying to steal everything they can before they get out. Hunter Biden needs to be in jail.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. It needs to be made an example of, like they're trying to make examples out of the good guys.
Well, you know, they're trying to get Steve Bannon. I think that's hilarious.
It is. It is. Well, you know, they're grasping, and that's the thing. Their narrative is, you know, blowing up on them. They can't keep this up any longer, and the truth is coming, and they know it, and they're trying to steal, kill, and destroy as much as they can while they can. Before we get here with it, you know. But
you know, I think Democrats are going to, Republicans are going to roll in at the midterms, and I think that there's going to be a Republican president, whoever runs. I hope it's Trump, because Trump's not a politician. The only other guy that comes close to Trump in terms of not being a politician, but he's not really a businessman, is Ron DeSantis. But Ron doesn't have the business acumen of Donald Trump to see the bigger picture.
Right.
So, you know, I want to see Trump get in there and clean this baby up. He needs to fire all the damn Democrats out of all of the PA jobs, out of all of the employee jobs. And his narrative should be this: if you were employed in the federal government in the last 2 years, I am going to fire you. If you're of the other party. Like so now, because 2 years out, you don't know who the nominee is going to be, right? 24 months out.
Yeah.
So 12 months out, we know who the nominee is going to be. So, you know, they start putting people in employment positions, giving them permanent positions in the agencies, right? No, if you've been employed, if you were employed 24 months before inauguration day in January 21st, 2025, you are going to be terminated if you're a Democrat. If you had a Democrat appointee position, you're fired. So if I were you, I'd start looking for a job now. But see, the thing is, Democrats take care of Democrats. Republicans don't take care of Republicans.
We eat our own. Yeah,
we eat our own. Bad. You know, when you roll out of office after fighting, do you think Jim Jordan could find a job if he left the Congress right now? You think Republicans would find a job for this guy? The answer is hell no.
Right.
He'd be on his own. No. And he's a fighter. Right. He's a warrior. There's no place for us to run to, no place for us to turn. It's like Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. Nowhere to turn to, baby. Nowhere to hide.
That's right. Well, the thing is, man, it's great. You know, it goes back to that family thing where there's not forgiveness and there's not change. If there's not true change of your, you know, people say, oh, I'm sorry, but they're not. And then we get tired of hearing I'm sorry and we don't believe it. And then we don't forgive anybody because we don't think they're being real about it, because they're not at the time, and we don't know what to think. And it's a lack of morals, man. And we really need to focus, you know, our kids especially. We see what they're doing in the schools and all. It's just it's a long game. You know, E.G. Griffin probably had it nailed back in the 60s, you know, when he was talking about the system, and it's all Linsky's rules for radicals. We know about, you know, take over the school, take the church out, you know, corrupt society, put them on welfare, do all these things. It's by the playbook, and people are finally waking up to it. But is it enough in time? You know, are we, you know, not a doom and gloom guy, but good grief, man. These
well, you know, I'm looking at the elections. I'm looking at the Virginia election. Terry McAuliffe, who was the chairman of the DNC, Terry McAuliffe, who's the guy who took out Maynard Jackson, who was going to be the second black chairman of the DNC, because Ron Brown was the first. He'd been the second black. he mysteriously dies. Um,
Yeah.
and McAuliffe becomes the chairman of DNC. Then he goes on to be the governor of Virginia. Horrible in both those jobs. And now he's trying to get reelected as governor of Virginia. Well, I think that he's not going to be reelected. One, it's close, but I think he's not going to be reelected. And he said that, the parents shouldn't be involved in their children's education and what's being taught in the schools. Crazy. And now he's trying to backtrack. He's like, well, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to say. Oh, hell yeah. You meant to say it.
You said it,
man.
Yeah. You said it. It came out of your mouth. You knew what you were saying when you said it. Somebody got on you and made you change your mind. But here's the thing. We advocate people to homeschool. There's so many programs online, thousands that you can teach your kid at home. It's not as bad as you think. Things are modern. You don't have to spend all your time. There's teachers online that can help them. There's classes and assistance for them to get through it. But, we've got to take our kids' futures back and quit putting in the hands of people that hate America and hate God and hate the family unit and want to shove all these, immoral values down their throat. It's exactly what's happening. And that's where it's got to start for people, in my opinion. I mean, if you want someone else to raise your kid and give them their values, you're doing the right thing by sending them to public school.
Right.
If you think they're going to turn out as a good citizen, you're wrong. They're going to turn out as a slave, and they're not going to think for themselves. And we're going to be in this endless cycle of dumb that we're stuck in. You know that movie Idiocracy?
No, I didn't. I never saw it.
Oh, you've got to see it because it's kind of where we are. It's, I don't know, probably 15 years old, but Idiocracy. And it's just how society got dumbed down so far.
It has been dumbed down.
A wrestler for the president, and stuff like that.
What, you mean like Jesse Ventura?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. Exactly. But a little different.
I mean,
so funny,
not really. I mean, he's a wrestler. He's governor.
Yeah, they're everything's so marketed to the people, and like they're trying to feed the crops, but they don't put water on them. They put this Gatorade type stuff. It's like it's what plants crave. They're so stupid, and it's kind of where we are because the people are programmed, man. They take this stuff in, they drink it up, and they're entertained. They're eaters. I get that. So I understand both sides of this argument. But good grief, if we don't step in and be the mentors and the family and the support for these people to get out of this, man, this is what scares me.
Okay.
It is both sides. It is both sides.
Okay.
You know that as well as I do.
I do.
It is we the people.
It is.
And the government, the difference that people are seeing now is what you were talking about, by the people, for the people, not by the government, for the government. But we have to have that grace, man, when we're reaching across, not to say, I told you so, and put it in your face, but I kind of warned you about this kind of deal, and let's talk about what's happening. We've got to have civil debate. I know it's impossible with a lot of people, and don't talk to them, but the people that can be reached have to be reached at this time. You know that as well as I do. It's a scary, scary time.
It is.
Our documentary shows stuff that you will never see on any TV station, any major media. Now, Tucker Carlson, we have given footage to him. He's coming out with a fantastic documentary beginning in November, I think. And it's gonna take a totally different look than anything you've seen, even with our documentary. And mine is a time stamp. We keep it synchronized. We walk through the day. It's 37 minutes long, but it shows the Antifa, it shows the FBI, it shows the 4 deaths. It shows Ashley and Roseanne, and these are stories that the mainstream, when they put this HBO special out, they don't mention how these other people died. They just mention that there were a couple more deaths. They don't go into detail. So it's as much what they leave out as important as what they put in. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
They're not giving the whole story, and
of course
people are
not.
going to take that. You know what? The Capitol Police seem to be justified. That was their job, and they were fighting back a mob, and the mob was the weapon. And I kind of understand that. And people that sympathize with that, then, maybe those people in prison deserve what they're getting. Maybe they're just not good people. Maybe they just got, caught up in the moment and did terrible things, and they do need to pay for their crimes. And that's the disconnect. But if people don't do their own homework, they're never going to know. We've done the homework.
Where do people find the video?
StopHate.com. It's called Writing History, RIGHTING, Writing History. It's right there on the front page. Or you can find it on Rumble at stophate.com as well. But stophate.com, we've got everything. We've got a lot of reports on Antifa for the FBI, a lot of investigations, and we've turned more into a little media group. since the whole January 6th thing. And, when I got back, I wanted to make a documentary. I told everybody, so I think we've got some really, really important stuff that nobody knows about, but we didn't have time. We didn't have money. And a friend of mine from the UK, Mark Sutherland, said that the guys at the Red Pill Expo were looking for someone that would talk about January 6th. And he told them, David has more video than anybody. I don't know if it's true at the time, but it probably is now. And so I said, this is a good opportunity for me to build this documentary. And they told me I could not air it at the Red Pill because there was too much violence and too much language. And it broke my heart. I was like, this is the truth. And they said, we have a family audience. So I did a PowerPoint and just released the documentary. And, we've had a lot of good response from it, but not enough traffic. A couple of 100,000 views is nothing in this world. And just trying to get this message out. It's been censored. It's been banned. A lot of people try to take it down and we try to put it back up, but it's free. We're not charging for it. It's at stophate.com. People can go and download it from our website, put it on your machine, share it back out. From there, it kind of helps with the algorithms and all. But, I just encourage people to go to stophate.com and see what we've done, see what we have, and then share the information. It doesn't do any good for people just to look at it and go, wow, you need to push the share button, follow us, like the stuff, comment on things, start conversations with people, say, did you know? And show them a video. We've got 1-minute clips. We've got, short trailers. We've got full 37-minute documentary that is just, it's amazing. God put this together. Let me tell you, we had a lot of footage. And then we got a call to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was walking down the hall and this guy named Scott just pulled me out of the crowd and said, hey, you want to do an interview? And we were talking and I said, I'm doing a documentary. And he said, I have footage you need. So, the way God works, man, I meet with him. He gives me the front and the end of the documentary. And then I meet another guy, Taylor Hanson, and he was next to Ashley when she got shot. He actually tried to render aid. And so he contributed a lot of his footage that is right next to Ashley when she dies. And also the guy that was pushed off the wall, Taylor was at the bottom of the wall as well. So we've got, pictures and video of, the actual victims that do not match up with what the media said they died of natural causes. It's a big lie. And we have to start there if we're going to reclaim the narrative about what abuse and violence is. Broken glass is nothing compared to 4 murders. So we need to get off of, they were violent. Look how they pushed the glass. Oh, it's terrible. They crawled in a window. That's so bad. Wait a minute. The reason they did that was there was a rush after they shoved the guy off the thing. Everybody said, we're not going to take this anymore. Let's take the hill. And that's exactly what happened. We just have to do a better job proving that so that people understand what really happened.
Why did they push the guy off the wall?
He was climbing up the side of the rail. He got to a position where he knew he couldn't make any more. He was trying to get on top of the steps. And so he stops at the rail. One policeman's trying to help him over so they can arrest him. And another comes up and shoves him. And you see him just fly off the wall out of sight down through the trees. So he hit the ground. We've got video of him on the stretcher afterwards and everything. He doesn't look responsive at all. I mean, it looks bad. And we let people decide for themselves. The very end of the video, I just say, look, if these aren't the 4 people that were murdered, were there more? Because we're hearing stories and we really don't know because we can't get medical records. We can't get information. The freedom of information stuff is not working on most of these things. DC has their own rules and it's not a regular police thing and it's crooked and they make it difficult. But, we have 1 million citizen journalists with their phones that captured this video. We have tips at stophate.com if anyone has video or stories or needs help with finding a lawyer or a fundraiser that you need to put on our page. We started the Department of Defense on stophate.com so that we could house all the fundraisers that we can find. We don't take the money. It's just a link to their site. And, but nobody knew where to find everybody. We've got a prayer group, Patriot Prayer Group. We've got the Patriot Freedom Project, which is for family. We've got a letter writing, a mail project, Patriot Mail Project. There's a lot of different things for support for these families. And it's like General Flynn said, we have an obligation to support those who fight for our freedom, and that's where we are today. People need to really step up and support the families. These kids have holidays coming with no dad. And
Well, that was a
moms are
day,
working
you know, General Flynn was a guy who got jammed up. I mean, you know, he got the
Sure
full brunt of the federal government.
Sure
When the
did.
government comes after you, man, you don't have the resources to fight them. And I think there should be a law passed.
No.
There should be a law
Yes.
passed that when the federal government comes after you, then they have to fund your defense.
There is a law that says that whatever they pay against you, you should have the right to pay in your defense. And there are ways around that. People aren't familiar. And that's the thing. We don't know the law. We've been priced out of the
Exactly.
legal game.
Exactly.
We don't know who to ask for advice. There's a thing on my site to help with that. Go down and scroll to legal help and sign up. You can ask attorneys questions every single day.
Okay.
I mean, we have to get back to the basics of what our rights are. You know,
Okay.
we've been asking this survey question lately of, you know, what's more important, your wealth and your finances, your health and your fitness, or your rights and your freedom? And C is the question every time. Freedom and your rights is more important, because you can't do anything with your wealth or your health if you don't have your freedom. So we
Yeah.
have to start there.
In fact,
we
man,
have to
speaking of
educate
health,
people.
I'm getting ready to get out of here and go get my bicycle. So
Go do it, man. Go do it. Listen, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate this so much. Just talking to you has been awesome. And man, I appreciate you helping us spread the word and
Okay.
lead people to stophate.com and stuff. Anything we can do for you, let me know.
I will, man. Thank you. It's been great having you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Dave Summerall. Take care, Dave.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, bro.
Talk soon.
Bye. Yeah, bye-bye. All right. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Well, look, that was very, very enlightening, and really appreciate Dave coming on. Really do. Really hope it enlightened us a little bit, left us with a little hope. And you know, I think that given that, I might have to well, I'm going to go ride my bike today. Living in America, you know, I think I'm going to close the show out today with little James Brown, Living in America, because I love that song, and it just reminds me of a different time. And back in the 60s when we were back in the 60s when we were, you know, hanging out, getting ready to go do battle. And James came out and said, hey, here we go. See you tomorrow. We'll have a great guest coming on. We're talking about the vaccine. So tune in.